Good afternoon. This is the 10th anniversary of Meet Taipei, which is the biggest meetup throughout Asia, to find out more about the ecosystem here in Taiwan and how Taiwan can connect to the world. Later on this stage, we'll be joined by three excellent, inspiring young entrepreneurs, all under the age of 30, which is a little bit challenging for me because I conduct interviews and host panel discussion on a daily basis. Normally, I talk to people who is above 50 years old. So today, I take this mission as a very interesting learning experiences, and I hope that I can enjoy this panel discussion as much as I hope that you can gain so much inspiration, courage throughout our next 45 minutes. Before this panel discussion begins, let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm Catherine Liu. I'm a journalist. I've been covering technology, future of business, and tech startup for the past 10 years. It is a space by choice. I do love every single element in startup ecosystem. The challenge of it, how do you find fundings? How do you find partners? How do you expand your market? And how do you find your right customer? And how do you grow? And right now, how do you use the latest AI technology and transform? How do you build trust? How do you shape the world? And by 10 years of my day-to-day practice and learning, I believe that the future is shaped not by those who just adapt to new trend, but by those who boldly innovate and break through the boundaries and solve problems with new ideas and see the world with new angles. And I believe that is not something that can be possessed by elder generation, and I hope that can be improved. But I think it's a privilege that is owned by this young generation. And this is absolutely my honor and privilege. I can be the one of the moderator to host this panel to introduce my three distinguished and brilliant three entrepreneurs. All right, without further ado, let me introduce our three panelists today. So one by one, where are you guys? Hi, Jeff. Please come onto the stage. The founder of Turing Certificate, which built digital trust across different nation, governmental entities. Welcome, Jeff. And Yuan, where are you? Hi, Yuan. So young. Yuan is the founder of 𝗏𝗏𝒏𝒅𝒄, which help people to take notes online and integrate and improve self-learning. And last but not least, 赵先生 Abner Zhao, 欢迎你, is the founder and CEO of Amazing Talker. Ladies and gentlemen, applause. 好, thank you so much for joining us. Please be seated. 我很少穿平底鞋，就是主持访问，这是我觉得非常年轻，然后热情洋溢的一场。那待会呢，我们也会有一些时间，可以聊聊三位创办人在新创的领域当中，特别振奋人心的故事。But first thing first, could you use very 1 minute briefly introduce your company and your services and how did that change the world?
Thank you, host. Thank you, Digital Next, for inviting me. I'm Jeff. I'm the CEO and founder of Turing Space. So what we do is trust. So you can imagine, like in the AIGC world, like faking and forging document may be so super easy, right? So in that kind of world, 99% of the information might be wrong, might be fake. And how do you verify? How do you find a source of every kind of data? So Turing will become the post officer to deliver trust. So that's what we do. We do digital identity, cybersecurity, data protection, and all around trust. We are a trust tech company. Thank you.
Trust is such a high concept. It's very vague. How do you even explain what is your product can do to your customers?
Yeah. So I bet like every one of us have a certificates, right? You have your identity cards, you have healthcare cards, your student cards. So our products simply help you issue certificates. So we have like 40 schools using us. We have 30 government agencies in 10 countries using us. We have like WHO using us to issue like different kind of certificates. So when you have like multi-certificate around you, it becomes a digital identity. So someone can verify, oh, by one certificate, you are a student from which school. By another certificate, you are over 18, so you can buy alcohol. so they can verify different angle. For different angle, different cut of the identity, it is a certificate. So that's what we do. Yeah.
And also, I've noticed one interesting point that your company hold up to zero carbon policy. What is that?
Yeah, because I think it just counts as easy, right? So when you issue certificate paperless, basically you like reduce 40 times of the carbon emission. 97.5% of the carbon emission will be deducted from the original, like comparing paper certificate and e-certificates. So I think that's the first thing. And the second thing is we are helping the Chinese government to build a second generation renewable energy certificate platform. So in the future, I think March next year, all the certificate from Taiwan about the renewable energy will be certified on our system. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty amazing. How old are you this year?
27.5.
27.5，27.5岁哦，很在意这个连点5岁。你是希望大家认为你是28岁还是27岁？
都可以，
都可以。哦，我听了姐听了很震撼，27.5岁。All right, Yuan, we've talked about the digital certificates. Now I want to talk about how do you improve self-learning? Because in your self-introduction, you said you love learning. Is that the reason why you start up 𝗏𝗏𝒏𝒅𝒄?
Exactly.
Can you tell me what it's about?
So 𝗏𝗏𝒏𝒅𝒄 is a visual note-taking tool that helps you learn complex topics. And our company mission is basically helping everyone in the world to effectively establish a deep understanding on anything that they care about.
I'm particularly interested when I Google your company. They're listed as Evernote, as Notion. So do you expand your market to European or American market very fast?
Actually, we start there.
You start there.
And we expand.
Why is that?
I mean, like, no specific reason. Like, we just feel like learning and research is something that many people do. Like, it doesn't matter like where you are at, and everyone around the world can use it. But then at the very beginning, I think there's like more active community in the state and like in a lot of like English-based country. And so like we just like, oh, I recognize this community, so I can acquire user from there.
You launch your product in the States first. When?
We launched a product online.
Yes.
So
yeah. When is that?
I think it's back in 2020, May 2020, June 2020, around that time. So almost 3 years ago.
And how old are you this year?
25.
So that's 22 when you first launched the product, right?
Yes,
wow,
around that.
Amazing. 22岁开始推出自己的服务，然后全球都可以用到这个线上的产品，帮助你学习，然后笔记，然后整理成字卡的模式。比你年轻一点呢，22岁。Abner， 你是我们3个 panelist 当中鞋子最潮的。
真的吗？然后年纪最大的。
年纪最大的，然后也是我看新闻媒体报道当中最多在介绍 Amazing Talker 的。
感谢。
这是一个什么样的平台
？Amazing Talker 其实蛮简单的，就是我们解决的问题就是让学生找老师。那一开始从语言开始，做了7年，我英文也没有变得比较好，对，有点可惜。对，那目前我们除了媒合英文以外，还有媒合其他的。那去年大家一起努力，有做到60 million USD 的营收的成绩。然后我们大概有60%多，快70%都在海外，那这个是我们的现状这样。
从什么时候开始做？你说6、7年前，那个时候你多大年纪呢？
当时就蛮年轻，当时大概26，跟我老婆一起创业，我老婆在后面。
哎，老婆在哪里？打声招呼，嗨，辛苦你了，26岁一路陪伴到现在，6、7年之后，公司达到你想要去的目标了吗？在26岁那个时候你创立的时候。
其实我这是我第3次创业，然后如果了解我的人，我前面都失败嘛，所以我只求不要死而已，所以当时没什么目标，就是活下来就好。
让大家更了解一下现在公司的规模，比如说员工啊，然后
目前年初有200个，但是我们目前今年很积极在用 AI 去转型做一些营运的工作，目前常态性的大概140个。
那我最后一个问题请教，为什么前面几次创业没有这么成功，但这一次你觉得可以继续活下去？看大家的表现，看你的 user 可以活得很好。
2个关键吧。我第一次创业是做类似像虾皮，然后那时候我没有 MVP 的精神，所以我1年才上线产品。那这个蛮伤的，在做互联网的产品的话。那第2个基本上是使用者研究没做好。那这个产品我大概做2个月而已，所以大概就是我同步1年做2个产品都失败，然后我再做这一个产品。所以速度很重要，就是快速验证。那再来就是你必须要足够了解你的使用者轮廓。大概是这2个，我觉得是现在比较好一点点的，就是关键这样。
3 young entrepreneurs, but their product, their services actually can help us to do better on a daily basis in your daily life, to improve your English skills, to take notes, to learn more, and to build digital trust, right? I asked myself, why do I need to learn from their stories? And it's evident, so transparent, that we need their stories to be inspired. So let's be very practical. We talk about Taiwanese ecosystem, startup ecosystem for so long, but we need stars, we need inspiration. We need to know that there are actually examples and companies that can break through the boundaries that we thought that is so hard and so impossible to break. So my next question for all 3 of you on the stage, what kind of qualities do you think that young entrepreneurs, that is a must, that you have to have this quality to even sort of just survive?
I always go with 2. 2 quality characteristic I think the entrepreneur should have. First one is like, how to say, you need to be obsessed with stress. You need to be in love with stress. Like
sounds a little bit not healthy.
I think because I don't usually get sick like unless I'm like just relaxing. If I just without work, I usually get sick. So when I was doing work, there are so many things. It's like the candidates are crowded. I always feel like healthy and energetic, and I can work like around the clock. So I think the first thing is you need to love stress, and then stress actually push you to keep it going. I think that's the first. The second is you need to learn things really, really fast. For example, when you see something that you don't know, I think the first mindset came to your mind shouldn't be, okay, someone else gonna learn that for me, or I don't need that. It would be like, how much time do I need? Is it 2 months? Is it 2 weeks? But I got to learn that thing and become one of the expert about that thing. For example, like Turing, we do digital certificates, right? We did it in so many different industries. We did it in 15 industries. So when I first met a guy who do green energy, I know nothing about green energy. So basically I sit there in a mini room, it feels like the classroom. And that person just talking about, okay, how do we verify the green energy? How do we produce? How do we use an electronic meter to actually measure the green energy? So everything, when we kick into the new industry, we learn from zero. And I want to spend 2 weeks, 2 months to become one of the experts in the industries.
你讲 green energy 就有一点点我们会丧失这个好奇心，但当然它也很重要，因为我知道还有更厉害的，你们也帮奢侈品、消费品做 certificate， 所以你去练习很多对于这些奢侈品牌的知识。How do you learn? How do you teach yourself how to learn?
Yeah, you know, like male or boy, we usually like get bored when your girlfriend bring you into like LVMH or like Gucci, this kind of like store.
Yeah.
Because we know nothing about that. But when we start talking to the LVMH group and also Kaiyun Jituan, which is the group of the Gucci, they talk about okay how they insert the RFID chip at the bottom of the handbag. So you can actually create a unique and digital identity for each of the bag. So they can source it back to, okay, which factory produced it, what batch, and what is the format, where does it go, and even the owner, the name of the owner, because they record every name of the VIP, right? When you buy this kind of handbag, they know, okay, what kind of the next product they're gonna recommend you, suggest you in the future. So that's basically the thing that we put an RFID chip into the handbag, and then we create a digital like identity for them, and then we track the entire resume for the handbag. Yeah, and I start getting interested when I walk in that kind of store. Right?
And you didn't know anything about it before. All right. So first you need to see stress as your breakfast. Basically, you have to eat it every day, right? And also you have to be able to, self-taught for new areas of knowledge and expertise. Abner, 这些创业家老生常谈很多了。对你，如果是这3位当中，这个稍微稍年长一些，有没有更新颖的？我们没有听过创业家的特质到底有什么？是你在你的创业路上面，真的觉得这很重要，必须要具备的。
有认真准备3个。
是 ChatGPT 吗？
没有，我自己想的。我认真想了一下，我盘点了一下，就是我为什么可以活下来。其实我觉得关键第一个就是在初期在创业的时候，能不能承受失败的能力，就是你的抗风险能力多少，就是你烧了100万、200万，你多快可以还，你多快可以再重来。
钱就有点伤感情了。你说一开始就要有这个，就算你投入的资本烧光了，你多快可以站回来这个赛道上？
因为这个跟你在做的时候，你能不能很稳定的，就是把每天该做的事情做完有关。如果你每天只活在恐惧。
带担心钱，
然后在一开始在评估的时候，也应该要承担，就是思考，就是我的最坏的停损点跟我的偿还能力是多少，选择一个自己可以挑战的赛道。我选择互联网一部分就是因为对我来说是比较低成本，然后投报率又很高的选择。我可能不会选择传统产业。这一开始的时候我就知道，我选择传统产业我没有那个竞争力，不管是知识或者是资源，资本，对，所以我觉得第一个就是我认为回头来看的话，我觉得在初期最重要的能力。所以我失败了2次，在1年，我马上又可以做第3个。关键其实就是我第一份工作开始，我一个月薪水大概就是15到20万，因为做 sales 就薪水来的比较快，所以我也大概就知道说我还完我的负债大概就是6个月到1年就可以还完。那我失败了之后，我就马上想办法，就是那要还钱，然后要怎么还，然后如果要开始，那我要怎么筹钱。所以我觉得这是我第一个，如果要讲3个的话，我觉得第一个最关键。
我非常认同而且这个也是非常实际的考量，你不能够让你整天的心态都在担心钱烧完了，那反而你的服务没有办法专注。接下来呢？
再来就是比较，我觉得有一些相雷同的地方，但大部分人会把它定义在快速学习，但是我更定义在就是你可以多精准的高频的失败，因为其实就是在我们的道路上面，其实没有这么，有时候当然去看一些课程，可以去了解就是系统化怎么做 startup， 但你真的在做的时候，太多是你情境上面跟每个人都不一样，你要想办法去突破，然后表现好自己，所以你多高频的失败，精准的失败，就是你把最快的时间把不该走的路都走完，那反过来意思就是你剩下那几条路就有很大的机会成功。所以我对于快速学习的反面是我用快速累积大量的失败跟试错来找到最该走的那条路。那我一直以来大概都是这样。
什么叫做精准的失败呢 ？versus 那不精准的失败长什么样子？
这就回到就是我常常跟同事分享，现在有一点点同事尴尬。
太太，
就是大部分人在想一个强假设的时候，它的验证是不周全的。比如说，我们要做一个实验之前，其实我们不一定真的要做那个实验，我们应该是要去确定，就是我实验要得到的目的是什么。如果它可以不用做实验就可以被验证，那你为什么要做那个实验？那比如说有很多验证方式是看数据就可以验证你的强假设的，那你不应该就是冒进去投资一个实验，因为你投资了实验之后，你还有等待的期间跟回报。可是如果你可以最小时间验证它，就可以可行。那它有可能是成功或失败，但不管怎么样，你会找到一个不可能的方式，那你可以归类，那再来就可以去做你该走的路。那这个是我们每天日常，就是我们会大量失败，但是我们鼓励你可以失败，没有关系，反正我付钱给你失败，因为我也很常失败，我没有什么资格要求别人要成功，大概就是这样。
一点方法学，怎么样可以很快的累积有效的经验？最后一个呢？
最后一个就是我觉得大家真的要用到，就是前面2个要用到，才会用到第3个，就是我相信你们才开始会有一些成绩的时候，日子会越过越好。对，就是你会有很多的舒服的托力，让你就是其实你不需要再这么认真。我不知道这种感觉大家能不能理解？就是创业到后面，就比如说一开始的时候，你可能很辛苦嘛，你后面会有很多的拉力是，我现在好像有一点点的小小的成绩了，我可以活得不错了，就是我生活品质变好了。那必须要持续的可以成长的关键，其实是就是能不能一直定一个你真的很想要挑战，然后很困难的目标往前跑。对，那这个对我来说是3个，我觉得我自己我不敢说给大家的建议，就是我自己觉得我的惯性大概就是3个，然后可以让我就是坚持 跟也过得还可以到现在。
有诶，我完全看到一个连续创业的灵魂在里面，就是可能达到目标之后不能完全松弛下来，还是得紧绷的有一个在前面要追逐的、想要完成的、想挑战的项目这样子。We talk about entrepreneur quality and what kind of quality do we have to possess to make it?
There's like a lot of qualities that are great qualities, and then no entrepreneur has like all the qualities. Like some have these few and some have those few. But when looking at like some specific founders or entrepreneurs that I respect the most, I think there's just one thing that I think is the most important is you have to solve the problem that you really care about. You have to solve the problem that you are actually interested in. Like actually you have like a strong curiosity or have a strong urge that you really want to solve this problem. And I think the tricky part here is like building a company. Like, I mean, you are going to do it either do it not well or do it well. And usually, if you are doing it not well, personally, I think a lot of it has to do with that you don't really understand that problem you are trying to solve, because you probably don't care about it that much. You just want to build a business or whatever. But for those who like do very well, another kind of scenario that could happen is, okay, now they are working on now they work on this problem and they do it very well, and they now have like a comfortable life, like Abner discussed. But then I realized, like, is this really something that I want to do for like the next 10 years? Because like whatever things you are working on, it's just going to
repeat.
Yeah, take you a lot of time. Take you like 10 or 20 years, and then create a lot of stress for you, and then you have to like learn a lot of stuff. And if you are working on something that you don't actually care, that's also going to be painful, even if the business itself is successful.
Even you have a lot of money, even the business is growing, still gonna be painful.
I do think so. Like, so just think about it, right? Like, if you build a successful business, like considering, I don't know, like, so one example is like let's say someone like, oh, like I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to build something cool, so I want to go build a rocket or whatever. And it turns out that I may not actually want to build a rocket. It's just like, well, rocket sounds cool, but now I have to deal with all these problems about how to build a rocket, which I don't actually care. And maybe something like the real problem that I'm interested in could be, like a banking system or whatever. But on the other hand, there will be people who will be like, I want to build a, I don't know, B2B SaaS for accountant, because I think that is very viable. And then they build a pretty successful business, and they actually make quite some money, but then they spend their entire 20 years old, 30 years old, like they spend all this time on them, and they finally realize like, oh, like what they actually want to build is a rocket. So there's like these two cases, and I think most of the regret is that if you figure out the path to success, but you are not using that path to work on something that actually matters to you, then you feel like you actually waste a lot of time. Because there's a lot of way to make money. You can go to Google and you will have to.
Really, that's enough? Go to Google?
Yeah.
All right, so identify your passion and make sure it's authentic. All right, 我常常很喜欢做一个自己的脑中的思想实验。我常常会问我自己说，如果这件事情我早5年做，我会做得比较好吗？我如果慢5年做，我会不会有更多的实力、更多的知识，可以让我少走一些弯路，少做一些挫折，少花一点钱。So that's basically the question that I ask myself in every big major decision in my life. So my question, Abner, 从你开始。以创业的年纪来说，很多研究都告诉我们说，其实30岁到40岁这个年龄段是最适合创业的。哦，你大概知道这个社会运作的逻辑，知道商业的本质是什么，知道你要面对你的顾客的时候，你的心态。你同意吗？30岁到40岁，你整件事情如果往后推，太太在这嘛，太太或许也可以一起回答。往后推再推6年，你们会做得比现在好吗？
就统计学来讲，角度是成立了，但是就我们的角度可能就不太成立。
我才刚刚出门之前看了你说怎么用 ChatGPT 或者是 AI 的方式在 disrupt 这个线上学习。
现在是要回30岁、40岁创业。
那一题了。因为 Abner 很认真啦，我们的那个所有的 QA 他全部都准备好了这样。
对我来说，其实创业很关键的还是在你对于你要创的项目的水深大概了解有多深。我3次业这一次比较成功，还有个关键是因为我刚好第一份工作在 𝑘𝒂𝒏𝒅𝒄上班，就是我无形当中对于这个产业的 know how 也比较熟，所以我其实是蛮认同30岁到40岁创的成功率会比较高。原因是因为我认识蛮多人，其实在这个时间点，他储备的能力比较多的时候，他其实比我当初还顺利一点。但当然还有很多就是比如说他们的案例很年轻做，然后我也很年轻做，但是我觉得我们在统计的数字里面其实不是多数，所以客观的讲，我会觉得对于产业的认知有到比较深的程度，也有足够的抗风险能力在创，的确会比较好。但是我们可能就不想要上班。所以就有这个结果，所以我不能用我们来当，不能说我们现在100%都是年轻就创业，就推荐大家，我觉得这没公德心。就是我觉得30到40真的比较好。
就是不想上班啦，但是你还是同意30岁到40岁，你觉得这个区间是 OK 的。
我有看过一些分析报告，其实大部分真的是在这个状况是比较好的。
那你就是反正我就是不管了，我就是想要这个时候出来试试看也可以。
我们的试错成本选择的赛道其实也比较便宜。
你又一直谈到这一件事情。
对，就是所以其实我们可以承担我们的试错，但是像我有一些朋友，他是跟我同年纪创业，他烧钱很多，因为他家本来就很有钱，然后他烧到现在就是什么都没有，然后家人可能也不再赞助他，就是我不觉得就是真的很年轻创业是可行的，你有可能选错不同的赛道跟行业，结果会差很多。
你们就算 Gen Z 了吗？还是 Gen Z 的下一个了 ？Jeff， 你是 Gen Alpha 了是不是？这算了吗？你还在 Z？ 哦，在 Z 的尾巴。我会这样子问的原因是 Gen Z 的答案真的很特别，它就是对你讲的没错，我也没有说我这个是一定是会变成一个普遍化的原则，的确还是多有一些累积再出来，你会觉得比较好。Jeff 呢 ，Turing sounds so old. It's an old experiment. The name of experiment. Do you want to grow your company older or younger?
Yeah, I think there are a few reasons why we start the company so early. I think the first reason is like we don't really fit in like working in a large company because I tried twice.
Wait, you were with big bank.
Yeah, I was in JP Morgan
Yeah.
as an internship. It's just an internship only. I stayed there for 3 months, and then I still recall like right after the first month, I just like work out the office. I was in Hong Kong doing my internship because I study right there. It's a building like 54 floor height. I look at the building at the night. I work out at I think 11 p.m. because usually that's drop up time of the office.
Yeah, that's JP Morgan. What do you expect? Yeah, right?
Investment banking, right?
Yeah.
So I start like wondering like should I spend my golden 10-year, 25 to 35-year-old to realizing someone else's dream, or I should spend those time on realizing my dream, which is start a company, doing something that I really want to solve. Just put all my energy in it and forget about day and night to do this and create something big. So I made a decision right after I only spent 1 month in big company and yeah.
Right. If for some reason the whole universe grant you a backward clock that you can choose one more time, would you still make the same decision?
Yeah, I gonna start earlier. Like
You want to start earlier?
Yes, because I think every single one of us have a different clock. So even age is a number, but like two different person at the age of like 30-year-old or 40-year-old, I think they viewing the world as different experiences. They have a different speed of time. For example, like if we take 10 meetings a day, we learn from 10 people a day. If someone else take 2 meetings a day, we are 5 times faster compared to the time goal, right? So I think people, even though we are in the same world, but it's like always a parallel universe for every single one of us. Yeah. So that's my thoughts.
No regrets. Start early. That's your answer. And I think from my presumption, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're more familiar with engineering space. do they always start very early? And from experience, is that a good thing?
I mean, founders or engineers? Like,
Both. You can. A lot of founders, they are engineering backgrounds. Yeah.
I don't think I have enough sample size, honestly, of like how many of them. Like if the statistics said like more founders start later, then probably later. But I think like when you are starting a company, it's really like you never really look at the statistic, because like if you follow the statistic, then you will know that for any 100 companies, 99 of them fail. And for those who don't fail, 99% of them don't pass I don't know how many years, and then 99% of them don't grow very big. So if you just look at the statistic and think about like what should I be doing with my career, then your answer will never be starting a company, irrespective with like how old you are. You could be 20, 30, 40, 50. Starting a company is always going to be something that is most least likely to success. So I think it's really independent of the age in terms of deciding whether you want to start a company. I think most people that I know who start a company, they start, like the one whose company is going pretty well, they start a company because like I mentioned in my previous question, like they start a company because like now they feel like they really understand this problem, or maybe like they really just can't stop thinking about this problem, and they just want to it's not even about focus, it's about like you feel painful if you are not thinking about that problem.
Oh, wow.
and
热爱了，
then-
热恋了已经。
Maybe, yeah. Like you feel painful when the problem is not being solved, or like if that problem has some like very personal connection with you. Like if you like you don't even know if it will success, but if you solve this problem, it's going to be very great, at least for you and for some amount of people that you know, that you recognize that they all have faced this problem, and then you go start a company, and you might be 40 years old or 20 years old, but it really depends.
我很同意，年纪是一个数字嘛，重点是你心态跟看待你的公司的本质，这个到底是什么 ？It's so interesting that I can hear more or less the same answer, even I keep asking different questions through different angles. I think that reflects that 你们每一个创业家其实都是有一个很稳固的中心思想的。I can do this all day, so much fun. But 已经有人提醒我，我必须要问最后一个问题了。所以我们都知道今天是整个 Meet Taipei 10周年，真的是很不容易的一个里程碑。我觉得从最刚刚开始，大家在了解什么是新创，然后在我们真的看到新创的企业成为改变生活的力量，然后到现在我们要有办法。跟世界最好的、最顶级的资源、人才还有产品接轨，所以我最后一个问题，也希望这个可以让大家的注意力跟勇气发展在这一个问题上。你们是领先时代的一群创业家，非常非常年轻，非常有勇气。如果让你们大胆的自己在预测自己的赛道上面未来10年，其实真的很久了。现在每一年都有一个翻天覆地的变化了，但是下一个大的跳跃性的发展跟重点，请你们预测的话，这个趋势会是什么？我觉得还是从 Abner 来好了，你的眼神最有力，你果然是就是把每一个问题都写好的人。好，
如果是我的赛道，我觉得以后的人不太需要一定要学语言，因为我现在也没学英文，我还是过得蛮好的。而且我们现在打海外市场，我们打南韩，我们没有南韩人，也没有人会讲南韩文，然后打南韩还不错，今年成长2-3倍。所以虽然这是我的主业，但我并没有很看好语言，它一定是一个硬需求。但是我更看好的可能是语言未来可能是认识一个文化的需求，但是它更像是兴趣，而不是就是你一定必备的能力。
我很同意。
因为我们现在其实hire人的时候，已经开始不太管英文，而反而是看他怎么解决问题，够不够强，然后这样的人才反而更多。对，那这个是我看我的赛道，但是我自己今年有开发 AI tutor， 我发现就是它还是需要一些时间酝酿。所以虽然 AI 已经可以帮我们做很多事情了，但其实未来有更多的机会去学不同的东西。然后对于一项专业的要求，可能也不会像过去这么低，因为 我们连我们工程师也蛮常用缺笔写 code 的，所以他们自己也知道，就是很多趋势在走，我们不能不看，我们蒙着眼睛没有办法解决问题。所以大家其实都有意识到，就是专攻一个领域，在未来可能不是唯一的，
没什么用了已经。
对，但你可能可以学很多不同的。那你怎么样学很多，速度更快？我觉得会蛮关键。
在文艺复兴的时代，你看居然跳出这么早的，其实大家也是一个通才的学生，他也是一个通才的教育家，一直要到很后期，比如说工业革命之后才会说，我专注在发展成这个东西，专注做这个产业，感觉起来有一点复兴。Jeff 呢
I think viewing the future, there will be like everything gonna be all fake. Like when you view the video, when you view the video, someone showing their faces, like your colleagues, and I think more than 50% it might be fake. Their colleagues may not even wake up, right? It's a fake generation of the video. When your parents call you, and the voice is your mom, and you're not 100% certain, is it a bot or is it a real human if your mom is not in front of you? So that's gonna be the future. Like every digital services, even we are in a same room, so we can physically, touch each other. So we are the real person. But everyone outside of this room, they might be bots. They might be AI generated content. So any phone, any video, any source of information, they are all used to be. They're gonna be fake. So there need to be a way that is easy, secure, affordable for every one of us to quickly verify real or not real. And I think when you see the logo of Turing in 2040 and 2050, you can trust it, and you can easily check it and make sure it's real. And I think that's the future. Yeah.
So important. 我们这几天在玩一个新的 app， 就是大家用一个照片，静止的照片，但你把它的边缘把它标示出来，就有 app 会自动把它生成是一个会动的，可能4到6秒的影片。那我们的朋友就在讨论说，未来可能 AI 科技立法这件事情，你必须要把所有的只要是 AI 生成的假的东西给标示出来。Do you think that will help? And do you think it's possible?
If it's gonna be labeled by human, it's not gonna be. It's not gonna work out. Right? It needs to be labeled automatically. Right? It will be like forcefully being labeled right away. Yeah. By human, there's always arrows. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, to build trust eventually, right?
Yeah.
Still the next big thing. Self-learning, keep learning will never end, right?
Probably.
So if you have to predict what's the next big thing, what will be your answer?
I don't know, honestly. I think for me it's impossible.
That's such a great answer, actually. Yeah.
For me, it's impossible to predict the future. I obviously have like a lot of hypotheses, probably hundreds of it, of how things could play out, and often are very different. And the reason that I think it's hard to predict is that basically the future is everything we build now, right? All the founders and all the engineers, and like everything that we build in right now, it's going to be like the son of them is going to be the future, but it's going to be the tool system of the future. And then there's this human system which we have to adapt to the new tool, and then the tool will change to adapt the way human work. And so there's going to be this kind of co-evolution between like how human work on, or how human do all types of things, and how we design and build the infrastructure in all types of tool. And in this kind of co-evolution there's going to be, for example, like a first order effect, which is something that as a founder we know the best. Like our product solved this problem for you, done. Like we know that the best, but then like what's the second order effect? What's the third order effect? The fourth, the fifth, the sixth? It's going to be propagated to the way that I just couldn't imagine. Like back in I still remember like I was reading this history about computing. Like the way like people think about internet 50 years ago is very completely different. They will never imagine something like TikTok, like doing with our generation, or something like, a lot of things are just, even the best and smartest people in the world, they predict it very wrong. So I don't think I have the ability to predict it. But what I think, like the things we can do is just like focus on our first order effect, and then see what others are building, and then try to kind of create several hypotheses and see that how to test them from a signal that we receive firsthand from the customer that we address. But ultimately, like the only thing I will be able to know is like my specific market. I don't know anything about the trust or like the teaching stuff like that. I have no experience on, so obviously I don't know what the future will play out.
Very genuine question. Well, I'm absolutely inspired. I don't mind to share it with audiences. I'm 37 this year, but even when I was 27, I'm not as smart, agile, and authentic, genuine as my 3 panelists today. I think it's absolutely our privilege together to hear about your stories and your observation toward the journey for a startup. 让我总结在这边，我不知道大家进来的时候有没有看到外面的旗帜上面的标志是未来的未来。我今天是非常非常期待这一场 panel 的，因为我觉得我在跟更年轻的世代学习。那我觉得要在未来的未来有更好的故事，其实也是靠着这些精彩的经验们，可以在不同的地方创造多一些些的勇气，多一些些尝试跟知识。如果今天大家在逛一整天的场馆，有任何一些些启发，我希望最后大家真诚的有勇气的，然后对于未来要持续学习、接受挑战的这个印象，是每一个人都可以带回家的。我的时间已经到了，工作团队不断的在举牌子，谢谢你们，也谢谢 Thank you so much for my 3 panelists. Thank you so much. All the very best for your companies and your space. Thank you so much. 也谢谢所有现场的观众朋友们。